Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This is Annie Miraj Kitpai, and you're watching Vertex, the solution of every need. I hope you all are doing wonderfully well, taking care of yourself and your loved ones, of course. Please take precautions, follow WHO guidelines. For COVID, still the cases are at the rise, so please take care of yourself and the people around you. Of course, do keep wearing masks because it's about your own life and, of course, the lives of the people around you as well, right? To know more about me, you can go and check out the website, that is www.vertexsolution.com, to find more details about me, who am I, what I do, etc. So, ladies and gentlemen, I thought I usually record on human psychology and literature or many other subjects or topics that I cover up in the video. So, I thought of talking about freedom of speech. I'm not going to talk about with a more textual information in this video. Rather, as a citizen, as an individual, as an independent entity, I would like to express and, of course, share some insights and knowledge about the same to the millennials, of course, with whom I share, the younger millennials than me, of course, and the Gen Z, of course. So, what is free speech or freedom of speech is very important to understand. Well, freedom of expression or speech is about that an individual or an entity has a right to express their ideas, their opinions, their thoughts in a manner which is abiding the law of the land, and it's not hurting the integrity, it's not hurting the dignity of the law of the land and the land itself. Now, every country, every nation has their own laws and have a constitution. When we talk about our country, our great country, we have our own constitution where in Article 19 we have been given the right of expression, but under the restriction of law, where, as I just said, we cannot express in such a way that can hurt the security, or that can hurt the dignity or the integrity of the land as a whole. So I'm not going to talk about more into that. Rather, I'm going to express my views and thoughts on freedom of speech or free speech, what is all about. What is freedom of speech and what is free speech? When you have a thought or an opinion about anything, we all have difference of opinion at times, and it's not necessary that we should align with the ideology or with a thought process or a concept of implementation as well with the other individual, and hence we have a right that we can express the difference of opinion or difference of opinion towards an idea or a concept in implementation. So that is why freedom of speech or free speech is very, very essential and extremely important. And I'm not talking about freedom of speech or free speech in the context where we are representing a citizen of the land, but it is in everyday situation as well. We have the right of free speech or freedom of speech in our day-to-day relationships as well, within our personal sphere of life, within we have a relationship with our spouses, with our children, with our parents, of course, with our bosses or colleagues, organizations, with our neighbors, and as a society as a whole. So it's not necessary that we have to agree, we have the right to disagree, okay? And this is what is about your ideas, your opinions, your own identity. But that does not mean that if you have freedom of speech, if you have free speech, that you can abuse any individual, or you can downplay or hurt the integrity or dignity or defame any individual in any such way. So, of course, we do have the right to express ourselves and put our opinions, our thoughts, our ideas forward but in a way that is appropriate and is decent, I would say. So language plays a huge role here, and communication skill also plays a huge role here. At times we have the power to write, but we do not have power to express ourselves. What does this mean? It implies here that it is very, very easy for us to write whatever comes in our mind, and just write it this to just to anybody. We can just whether somebody's private affairs, private life, their children, their marriage. Many of the times you may see that people just without any reason, somebody is getting married to somebody. If you see examples of some celebrities, it's their personal choices, whatever they are doing in their life. Why you are unnecessary abusing any individual, or why you are trolling unnecessary an individual without any reason, which where it's their personal sphere, it's their personal choice. So here it needs to be understood that the freedom of speech doesn't mean that we must defame or hurt or create a situation or incite a situation which can be destructive in the end, in a way. So a freedom of speech or difference of opinions or ideas should always comes to a conclusion in a constructive way. For example, I teach, for instance, and if I'm in a leadership role and something I do, some decision I take, or the content I share, if somewhere is needed feedback, of a constructive feedback, it should be accepted as a leader, right? I cannot suppress the voice of my students or my colleagues, the teammates with whom I share the same space. I cannot suppress them because they have the right to express themselves. The students have the right to give their feedback to me. And this is how we are able to build trust within the society and with each other, and can work in a constructive way. But of course, any such expression which is destructive in nature, for example, unnecessary using inappropriate words, uh, uh, going out of balance, where your emotions are not in balance and you start abusing anyone, physical, emotional, certain kind of abuses, of course, doesn't abide by the law of the land anywhere. So we must keep this in mind, that freedom of speech, freedom of expression is extremely important for day-to-day life, of course, within the society, to develop the society as a whole, to create a more balanced society. Because also freedom of speech or freedom of expression brings equality, whether in your personal space, in a personal life, with your spouse, with your children. It brings viability, of course, brings momentum in the situation, of course, and of course it develops the situation overall in a positive way. But as I just said, it can be destructive too when we lose our emotional balance. So emotional intelligence is important to assess the situation, to assess a dialogue and a conversation, and language proficiency and good communication skill helps us to deliver what exactly we want to deliver in an appropriate way, whether we are using social media handles, whether we are writing about it, or whether we are speaking about it. So there are always certain parameters to be chosen to express oneself in an appropriate way, rather than derogatory way. So derogatory terms used during your expression of your thought and idea should always be condemned. It should not be disrespectful. Freedom of speech does not give you the right to be disrespectful towards anyone. On the same way, it is also giving you a right to be assertive for what you do not believe into. So if you do not align with a certain thought or with a certain idea, you do have a right of expressing yourself, but in an appropriate way, the correct usage of language, uh, maintaining the decorum of the society, of the law of the land, and of course, developing yourself in such a way which doesn't disrupt, uh, the situation towards destruction, rather, creating a situation, disrupt the situation in a way that is a constructive output. So I hope I brought some insights on freedom of speech in a simplified way rather than the more technical ways you do read about it. Do read about freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and I hope I've explained it to the millennials, of course, and the Gen Z as well. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.